All right, we are back with the Fast and the Curious. I'm curious and he's fast.
At this point, the show is The Curious and the Curious, honestly, because
Yeah.
now we're in a stuff that neither of us have seen. So you gotta have to fix that graphic on that road behind
On
us.
this road
You
that
wanna like get a ladder and like climb up there and like rearrange some letters.
we're sitting on a couch that's being towed by a sports car going down the road right now. And currently they're parked, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
Dom's like, shit, got a flat. You hang tight. Talk about the movie.
It's the spirit of the show is in the you're the more experienced one when it comes to Fast and Furious.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're new to our little program here, we've been going through and we've been watching all the Fast and the Furious movies. And at this point, we are caught up with the current movies. And so we're going to take a look back at the shorts.
Yeah.
The shorts that Vin Diesel wore in Too Fast, Too Furious.
I wish. His like jacked ass leg is coming out of like little shorts. You seen that picture of John Cena where he looks like an action figure gone wrong?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's wild. But yeah,
so I've seen a lot of pictures of John Cena.
We're going for the snack size, fun size Fast and Furious now. We're like desperate for any crumbs, so we're like, quick, let's watch a 5-minute video that was like made in conjunction with Too Fast, Too Furious. Isn't it like that short? Isn't the first?
Yeah,
one,
I think
really short.
So. Yeah, because there's two of these.
Yeah.
There is the Supercharged Prelude, Turbocharged Prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious.
It's wild.
And then there is
Los Bandoleros.
And I believe Los Bandoleros is a little bit longer.
That was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but this one will be doing the Turbocharged Prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
What do you have any expectations for this going into it?
I do, but they're not good.
Okay.
So because of the fact that it's the one I'm actually looking most forward to, because it's like it's got Paul Walker in it.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it before, and it's like in the early days still, where like I was very much like into like like they're still doing like the racing and whatever else. Mm-hmm. That should be like the most exciting thing. And it should be like really cool, but because I'm so excited, because it's 5 minutes. I feel like really all it's gonna be is we're gonna see like Brian like put on a cup of coffee, go like purchase or get into the Nissan Skyline, drive up to the race that's in Too Fast Too Furious, and it's gonna cut.
Yep.
I feel like the plot of it is gonna be like Brian approaching a race, and then we don't get shit. So like that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably a pretty good guess.
Yeah. I'm prepared to be disappointed.
Do you think there will be a ludicrous song in this?
When they first pull up to the race, yes, that's when it'll be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wonder, I guess this will be a better discussion for like once you've actually watched the thing, but if I'm right, it's just a thought experiment for a second. Okay. If I'm right, and it is just a 5-minute scene of like Brian's day before he then like shows up to the race and then we don't get any of the racing, what do you think the point was of making this? Because it's so short.
You know, and yeah, it's weird because it's, you know, we're thinking about it now in the context of Fast and Furious, where there's a concert to announce the trailer for Fast 9.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the sequel to just like a random movie.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, was this like, are we maybe looking at like the early days of the internet where everybody was like kind of experimenting with what internet content could be?
Could be. I feel like we're more in the range of like DVD bonus thing.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it was probably that's where it might have started. I could be wrong about that. My guess is that that's where it started. But then I feel like I would have watched it if that was the case, because I was all about, first of all, just DVD extras in general, and I watched the Fast and the Furious movies like all the time. I feel like I would have eventually been like, "What's this?" and clicked on it, but maybe not. Maybe I missed it.
Who knows? Well,
we'll find out.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it now, and we'll be right back to talk about it.
Now that we're done with the Turbocharged Prelude to the Turbocharged Prelude of Too Fast, Too Furious.
This was the Supercharged Prelude to the Turbocharged Prelude. To be continued.
That was pretty nice.
Yes.
That was well done.
You know, there's all this talk with, you know, Birdman, 1917, one long shot. That's how you do it right there.
But it wasn't one shot.
Are you telling me that we didn't just watch Paul Walker drive across the country?
It did certainly feel like it. We went on a journey.
I gotta tell you, for 6 minutes, kind of dragged.
I simultaneously agree with you and found that to be a delightful little watch. Like, there was so much amusing about that. Like, okay, first of all, we have to cover for people. Actually, this is gonna be the most accessible episode of this show ever because unlike the movies where you have to like rent it on YouTube or whatever to watch, you can literally just go find this on YouTube. The two that we're covering right now. So like, go watch it and then come back and listen so you can know how funny and right we are. But we were talking about how it looks like Paul Walker just like shot it himself.
Yeah.
Like it looks like someone who has never actually made a movie before shot this. It feels very cheap. It feels like nobody knew how to like frame anything. It feels like a local court show. And then parts of it looked like I was trying to say this when we were watching it. It looks like there's some game recently that's an example of this. I was like on the PlayStation Plus or whatever, where like you'll be playing the game and it'll just be like, you know, like cartoony graphics or whatever, and then it'll cut in with like live action cutscenes, but they're super cheap. Just someone's like grabbed a camcorder and they shoot it. Yeah. Like, hi, where are you going? You know, whatever. Like, and it looked like that kind of thing too. We talked about how it had freesound.org music. Yeah. That looped for the whole thing. And you told me, like, right before we started it, Ben was like, so I don't know if you've seen this before, I just forgot it, but you're absolutely right about what this thing is. It basically is just him getting to Miami and showing how he gets the new car that he's there with. But I do think it's, like, once it got going, I was like, okay, this is, like, at least, like, I understand why it was made with the question we posed earlier, because it is showing the, like, results of his decision at the end of the last movie as a cop to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna let the dude run away. Yeah. And now we're seeing the consequences of that and his transition from being a police officer to a fugitive, and that's kind of cool. I get why they're like, we should do a little thing of that.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Could it have just been put at the beginning of Too Fast, Too Furious?
It could have.
Not that, but like something that story beat.
Sure, yeah, a well-made version of that.
Yeah.
It could have. I mean, like, I kind of like the idea of like that movie just starts and we're in his new life, like where he's at the races and we see his little boat home and we just like I feel like it's not. I feel like if you were to try to put that in the movie, the thing you'd run into is someone would point out rightfully so. It's like you don't need that. You could start it here, and so like, yeah, and so I like
Paul Walker argued you did need that.
He's like, you need it, and it needs to be my cousin who's a college film student who makes it. That's who. Yeah. The beginning part where he's like looking in the mirror, and I was gonna say like, in this poorly framed shot, but everything is poorly framed. But he's sitting in his little like apartment, like staring into the mirror, and they like shitty effect transition his face in the mirror into his face at the end of Fast and Furious, where he's talking to Dom, and he just like it like repeats like, you owe me a 10-second car. You owe me, or I owe you a 10-second car, or whatever. It's like, oh, this is very like film schooly. Like, this is wild.
We were talking about while watching that you know he comes to a crossroads in the Turbocharged Prelude here.
Yeah.
Where he has to decide between going to New York or going to Miami.
Yeah.
And how that could have affected the whole Fast and Furious universe as we know it.
Yeah.
However, where is this interstate interchange? Where one sign says, New York straight ahead, Miami's on your right.
I didn't have any idea that's where you're going with this. That's very funny. I have no idea. I was also looking to be a pedantic dick about the map parts. I was like, why is he going all over there? I was like, that's how roads work, Chris. There's nothing there. There's no joke there. Like you're reaching, like, because there was a lot to make fun of in this. Like the moment where he's in the diner and the cops come in and he does the most obvious like, I am hiding from the police thing I've ever seen in my life.
Which, if you're a sheriff, a county sheriff, and you're out there having a nice cup of coffee and maybe some scrambled eggs with your partner, and you walk in and some guy goes, do you think you're going to react to that at all?
He does a double fist maneuver and like ducks.
Not a natural thing. He doesn't even do like the newspaper flip up thing or anything like that. He literally goes, "Don't look at my face."
And then he knows correctly because he was a cop, so he knows that he can get away with these things. Yes. But because he knows that if he just fucking hauls ass out of that parking lot, then they're just gonna sit there and turn back to their bacon.
Like, wow, someone doesn't buy his own tires. And they just let him drive up.
The cop just like, oh, he's got a big dick, like the thing everyone else says when they hear the engine's revving, not doing anything about it. And then it happens again in the great scene where he's racing these 4 motorcycle drivers on the highway, and they get pulled over, and he does it, and he does a nya and boo boo ha ha at them as he drives by. And he speeds his ass off, and the cop, they just show up really like a close-up of the cop just looking over with his stern glance, and then nothing happens.
Also, I think if we looked back and really broke this down frame by frame, I think that was the same cop from the diner.
They can only afford a few cops.
They're not actual cops, Chris. They're actors.
No, remember our theory that Paul Walker wanted to make this and actually call the cops on himself so that he could run from them?
Yes.
Which explains the shoddy filmmaking, because he's literally just fucking strapping a GoPro to the side of his car.
Now, okay, so in all seriousness though,
yeah.
Has Fast and Furious ever gone to New York?
No.
Seems like out of all the places they've been, it's weird that they have not gone to New York.
Well, that's why I was thinking about it, once we started talking about how different would the movie be if he had gone to New York instead of Miami, because the whole thing of Too Fast, Too Furious is it's the cartel guy, and he's got the yacht, and he's got the palm tree mansion, and Eva Mendes is on a beach or whatever the hell, you know what I'm saying? So if it's New York, then you get a whole different dynamic. I have no idea what that'd even be. It'd be fun to sit and daydream about what the plot of that movie would have been.
Russian mob.
It could have been. It could have been a Nico Bellic type situation. Maybe instead of the bright piers of Miami, you get kind of the docks of New York where stuff's coming in, and
it's
he
much grittier movie.
Yeah, ramps onto that thing instead.
Yeah.
Well, wait, where did they go in? It's probably somewhere international. The part where Charlize Theron does all the zombie cars in Fate of the Furious. Where was that? 'Cause that's a big city. I still don't think it's New York, but
I'm having trouble picturing that right now.
Yeah. Regardless, I don't think they've gone to New York, and now that you mention it, that is kind of... Although, actually, is it weird?
Boston in Fate?
Might be.
Maybe.
I just realized, though, that part of the reason... Well, no. I don't know. Here, I'm just going to say what I was thinking. Maybe the reason they haven't done New York is because it's just traffic. There's nowhere for them to drive.
But they're in LA in the first movie.
That's what I was thinking, but LA is a little bit more spread out, at least, than New York.
LA is notorious for bad traffic.
That's true, yeah. So, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're saving it for 10. Or 9. We haven't seen it yet.
You mean 10 Part 2?
Yeah. The Final Fantasy version.
Let us know in the comments below where you want to see Fast and Furious go next. To space? Because that's my thing.
I want them to go to Bahia. The Los Caballeros with the Donald Duck thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I do know. I actually do know what you're talking about. Yes.
That was, see, the short film made me think of Spanish class, because the one guy that he bought the car from looked like a guy that was in a picture in a Spanish textbook. Yes. And we watched that movie in one of my Spanish classes. So, yeah.
You watched Turbo Charged Prelude?
Yes. No, the wardrobe in this movie is worth going to look at alone if you haven't seen it before. This short, because there's one dude that's wearing, it's the most, 90s, early 2000s thing ever. It's, bright red, white, and blue, kind of like a windbreaker. And then he's got his hair up with a visor, and it's sticking up. Yeah. It's great. I also love the scene where we see what it would look like if Paul Walker was in Breaking Bad, when he's about to paint the car, and he has the white thing on it. He puts the whatever. Yeah, that was great too. We talked about the girl that helps him get to Miami, and
and he doesn't think she knows, but then he finds out that she knows. And
yeah.
There's a newspaper involved.
There's a lot of newspapers in the short, really. What if the thing ended and it was just support journalism? Although I guess not, because the whole point is that the newspaper's causing him problems. Yeah. It's making his life harder.
But it is letting the people know that there's this fugitive cop who's running around the country.
Never even dangerous. There's no real point to draw attention to that. Basically, he didn't even do anything really that wrong. Why is he a fugitive? You know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
that's a good. At the end of the first one,
all he does is let Dom go. He doesn't
and they
do
don't.
anything.
Do they know that he lets Dom go at the end of the first one?
I mean, they might figure out eventually, but like, there's no real. Okay, hold on. Let's think back a minute. Did they do? I mean, he was involved. He did shoot Johnny Tran. He might have been wanted for that. Now that I think about it, remember, because Johnny Tran shoots up Jesse, and then they go on that chase, and then Brian pops him from the car. So it might have been off of that.
Okay.
But even then, if he's an undercover cop, isn't there a whole thing to like? I honestly now I'm wondering why he's a fugitive, and maybe this movie isn't even canon. Maybe this short film is literally just like we wanted to have him be a cool fugitive, so whatever. I don't remember if they cover that in Too Fast, Too Furious. If he's actually like on the lam or if he just relocated. You know what I mean? Because they do bring him in because they want him to solve their problem with the man, with Cole Hauser. Yeah, I don't know. Because I don't think even as a cop that just like letting the person you're after go would make you a wanted man, like a fugitive of the law. I feel like you just like get fired or reprimanded or something. Like I feel like
it also makes me wonder: was this like a sanctioned Fast and Furious?
That's what I'm saying. Is maybe it's not canon. Maybe it's like Geronimo Pictures are just like, hey Paul, you got a spare Saturday to come shoot this?
Well, it has its own Wikipedia page.
Fuck yes. We were wrong about the Ludacris song, by the way. It didn't happen.
I don't know. It's distributed by Universal Pictures.
Oh, wow. Produced by Neil H. Moritz, like the rest of them?
It was included on the special edition home release of the first film.
Oh, okay.
It was also released to select theaters to tie with the theatrical release of Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh, wow. So were they doing, like, the Pixar short with this?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, been playing beforehand?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's interesting. Well, then, if they were doing that, then Too Fast, Too Furious must address that he's wanted, because otherwise the theater would be like, what the fuck?
So this is the plot according to Wikipedia. Okay?
Yeah.
Brian O'Connor packs his bags and leaves Los Angeles before the LAPD gets a chance to arrest him for letting Dominic escape.
Okay.
While the FBI launch a national manhunt for him, Brian travels across Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, winning every street race he participates in.
That's true.
With his red Mitsubishi 3000 GT. However, he is forced to ditch his car at a motel in San Antonio when police officers are notified of his presence. When they collect the car, he manages to hitch a ride from an unknown woman, despite her knowing who he really is. She drops him at a used car lot, with him realizing she knows that he is a wanted man. There, he buys a green Nissan Skyline GT RR34. It's a lot of words. Later, collecting money from street races, he modifies the car with new rims and repaints it silver before traveling eastbound and winning more races on the way. Upon reaching Jacksonville, Florida, Brian heads south towards Miami, where he sees Slapjack's Toyota Supra and Orange Julius Mazda RX-7 before the screen reads, "To be continued."
Oh shit! I knew I recognized those cars. I knew I like knew them.
Yeah.
But I couldn't think of who they were. That's the racers from the first race in the beginning of Too Fast, Too Furious. Does that imply that then after the to be continued thing pops up and it ends, that he just like tails them and finds out where they're gonna race?
I guess so. Yeah.
Like he just like follows them around.
It also makes me wonder if maybe they didn't have the car for the beginning of the filming of this, and so they had a different car, and then they were like, well, we'll just pretend like he painted it on his way. We'll get different rims and everything. Also, so answering my earlier question, apparently where the sign that says New York this way, right? Miami this way, is in Jacksonville, Florida.
We should take like a Patreon-sponsored pilgrimage to the inner...
Patreon.com/alienhappyhour. You can help pay for us to go to a meet and greet in Jacksonville, Florida.
With all of our fans, just like on the road, like between the New York and Miami. We do have to adjust it. We're talking about a Fast and Furious picture. We have to talk about the racing because there's actually a lot of the thing beforehand. I was like, we're not going to get any racing. We do get racing. It's just very lame. and the thing that's funny about it is that for a whole franchise where like this half the selling point is like really well shot races with like for the most part real cars and real cars, whatever else. It's interesting that for this, what they did to make the races seem fast and exciting was just like speed up the footage. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah.
The cars were like kind of like racing, but really they were just like putting it in fast motion, and I was like, this destroys the whole feel of like watching a car race. It feels like it needed Benny Hill music over it. It didn't feel like at all like I was like, it didn't feel turbocharged, Ben. It was supposed to be the turbocharged prelude, and instead it was like, I don't know, they filled up the tank part way, and then they just like drove leisurely to the next movie.
Well, we've officially talked about this for over three times the length of the actual shorts.
I just have one other thing.
Okay.
What is that woman's story? Imagine for a moment, if you will, the life of a woman who sees a man in a diner, and granted it is Paul Walker, so it's a handsome man, sees him do the tuck and roll away from the cops, and then immediately leave the diner. She happens to run into him later at the motel, the town, what was it, the town hall motel or whatever?
Town hall,
something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, she sees him there. She realizes that he's like a fugitive. It helps him buy time from the cops. Then drives his ass down to like wherever she's going next, and then just like goes back to her life. Who is that person? I want to know her story.
You know, someone who lives their life like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, she truly lives her life a quarter mile at a time. She's Dom's other sibling that we didn't know about.
Spoilers.
Yeah, Jeanette Cena. I don't know. We can be done.
Dominic's last name is Cena?
That's the new reveal. That character is just like real life John Cena.
Yeah.
And his brother is Dominic
John
Toretto.
Cena's brother is Dominic Toretto.
Yeah.
That's what is actually going on there.
Dominic Felix Anthony Toretto.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching. And if you want to hear us talk about all the other Fast and Furious movies, check out the Fast and Curious playlist on Alien Happy Hour, youtube.com/Alien Happy Hour. And if you want to help support us making things like this, you can go to...
Or going to Jacksonville, Florida.
Patreon.com/Alien Happy Hour. And if you just want to hear about us talk, or if you just want to hear us talk about movies in general, Movie Club, the podcast, on the podcast app of your choice, on alienhappyhour.com. And thanks for watching, I guess, huh? That's pretty much how we end this.
Yeah, I don't remember if we had a sign off. I guess we'll say to be continued because that's what the movie did, but we're not going to have that for next time, so I don't know.
Bye.
Bye.